There we go. There we go. We're actually back now.
Hello.
Carlo's back. This guy.
We're back. I'm back.
This guy over here.
I'm back.
And we had a break last week as well, to give me some time to actually sort my real life out. Who has real lives, right? Okay, Carlo. There's lots to talk about. Lots to go through. And hopefully things are going to be super interesting when we go through them. First of all...
Super interesting. So interesting.
We'll start off with yourself. How was your time off?
It was good, yeah. Been out and about around the country. Come back to Durham to find a local lockdown, which is great. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will see what happens. It is unfortunate that we both live in a part of the world where people don't seem to follow rules. But yes, it's hilarious because we live 20 minutes away from each other, and you're in lockdown and I'm not. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that.
And we live 20 minutes away from each other, and we haven't actually seen each other in
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
7 months.
We talk enough. All right, so we're back with Stats Chat and Tourney Ground, of course, which is why we're here today. Should we start off with the announcement from Simon?
Yeah, go on. Let's go for it.
Yeah, it is obviously the most relevant
We've only just seen it.
Yeah, it is the most relevant part of the discussion, of course. So here we stand. The Simon did a post on the official game website on Facebook, and his post has gone up on Reddit. Here we stand has made it through beta testing into a real game mode, and it is completely different. It's just
choice.
Not the same game mode.
Yeah, this is the one you like. So we changed it.
Yeah. I don't know why they've done this. I do not know why they have chosen Here We Stand as a game mode to change.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. It's good, but I don't know how they chose it.
No, I have no idea either. They said it was based on player feedback.
Yeah. I don't know where this feedback was.
No.
The only feedback that I know of was there was a channel in the Discord, and it has been dead for months. The only posts that go on it, people, it was so dead from beta game mode feedback that people thought it was TTS development feedback. Most people thought that most discussion in that channel was about bugs or things that could happen on the TTS to Bartender, and I kept on having to say, guys, this is for the beta game mode feedback. If you want to talk about the mod, then go to online development. That was the most discussion that was being had. So I don't know where they got this feedback from. Like I don't know who. I collected some feedback from when we ran the first builder tournament. We ran 3 of the game modes, collected some feedback, sent it to them. They didn't respond at all.
Really?
But hey, nope.
No response. Interesting. It's a weird one. It's a weird one because I think nobody here would say that. Oh, I'm losing you a bit there. I'm losing you a bit there, Carlo. You know, we've seen, the thing is, the game modes were all taken quite well. There was quite a few of them were enjoyed. People did like them.
I think they're good. Like in general, I mean, going way back, like I'm sure maybe they did at some point say, hey, look, we're gonna pick one of these beta game modes. But as far as I was concerned, as soon as they released them, I was like, right, there's some new game modes. Bang! Like they might change, but you've just doubled the amount of game modes there are, and now they're like, oh, we've selected one. I'm like, okay, I guess that one's staying then.
Yeah.
Can't really take the others back though. We're gonna keep playing them.
Well, exactly. Yeah. The funny thing is that this game mode, as you say, this game mode was quite good, and they've changed it, and it's still good.
Was. Yeah, I think it was better. Like I haven't played it yet. But just my first initial thoughts are, I liked that it had an aggressive outset. I liked that opposing zones were worth more than your own. And I'm not instinctively on board with the new redeployment. It makes it into a much slower, grindy defensive game, and I liked how aggressive it was because I don't think there aren't many aggressive game modes right now. Like there are lots that require combat because they require you to control areas of the map and move up, but they don't require you to like actually punch through unit first and then stay there. So I thought that other one, I played it a few times and I thought, God, this is so aggressive. And yes, it was maybe like decided early on because it's such close deployment. Early charges can matter so much, but they've changed it for better or worse, and it's now official.
Yeah.
Don't know what to say about it other than
I
didn't expect it. Like any of it. I didn't expect them to pick that game mode. I didn't expect them to change it so vastly based on like it just seems really odd. This is the game mode you like the most, so we went and changed it.
Yeah.
That seems odd.
Yeah, it does. I agree. It seems really weird that was the one they changed, given that, as you say, people liked it. The other thing that I just disagree with wholeheartedly is that they've made commanders add 3 points for disarming control. Now, that's fine, because obviously for on-field commanders, they're actually worth something on a particular quadrant, right? Increasing the cost of that unit by 3 is great. But it just means NCU commanders now cost 3 points and can go wherever they want on the board, and before they could never control.
And they're by far the most important part of how you score VPs.
Yeah.
So you've got an NCU commander who now can't die, unlike your on-field commander who can die. I mean, except for like Jacken.
Yeah. We don't count him.
But I mean, like, really? So you got this commander who can't die, and he can be placed in any quarter you want at any time to give you like massive VP swing. So it seems to favor an NCU commander again, and yet it was one of the few game modes that wasn't favoring an NCU commander because the NCU commander was worth zero points when put in a quadrant before. It's just it's too early to say if the game mode is like way worse, but my instinct is that you've tipped it away from what I liked about it.
Yeah. And the redeployment thing, because you can deploy on flanks as well, it's just going to be carnage in a bad way, because there's absolutely no advantage to deploying it in your own backfield unless your enemy's marching all over you. And if your enemy's marching all over you, then you've probably lost anyway. So, like,
we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
We'll play it a bit. We'll do whatever, but. Yeah, I mean, all I can say is surprised.
Definitely surprised.
This is not what I expected to happen at all. I thought that we were gonna have I thought they were all basically gonna maybe get some small tweaks, like smaller tweaks than this one has.
Yeah.
And would all become game modes. So. Hello to the couple of usuals in the chat. We see Chris, Sunday Slaughter, Craig,
Bruce. Yeah.
All the boys are back.
The boys. All right, so let's have a little look at the stats site. Oh, holy cow! It's Carl, as well as Carlo. Welcome back, Carl. All right, so we talked about Here We Stand, and here we stand talking about some more tournaments.
Yeah, let's get some tournaments.
Let's get some tournament stuff going on. Right, so it's been a while, Carlo. Some things have happened.
It has.
There's
been a lot of new tournaments. I honestly don't even. I haven't even managed to look at them all myself.
I know, right? I end up talking to Carl, West Coast Bannerman Carl, and he decided that it would be a really clever idea to do a 50-point tournament called Call the Banners, which I know you heard of. And we're definitely going to have a quick pit stop at that.
Yep. So just so everybody knows, while I'm in the middle of Northern Ireland with like a shoddy laptop that I can just about do a tiny bit of coding on, I get a message asking if I can update the website to put up a load of new stuff so that we can advertise this tournament, which I knew nothing about, or you know what I mean. So we just about managed to make it work.
It worked,
By
didn't it?
we, I mean obviously I.
I do nothing.
So thanks for that while I was on holiday.
It's all right. I made a nice banner for Carl, and that was about it. Right. Right, so we it got 28 players in the end. It just basically was just one of those, as many people as you can, just fill in. And Night's Watch absolutely romping it home. Now, it's only been one round, but a lot of Night's Watch players in the top half. There's only one Night's Watch player lost. And strangely enough, Targaryens didn't win. One player won with Targaryens, so complete opposite for them. Firstly, it was a 50-point tournament run on a 4x4 board.
Yeah. So it's an interest. The 4x4 is because that's what's easiest on TTS.
Yes.
The currently sustained mod only has the 4x4 table on it. The very old, way outdated mod used to have the option to change the table size, but it's actually not really very easy to do in TTS at all.
Nope.
Yeah, so it was decided to keep it on the 4x4, which is going to be packed, and it, I would say, is going to favor defensive armies that want to fight in the front.
And because, ironically, and this is the funny thing, ironically, the likes of Baratheons were going to be favoured, so a lot of them got picked up, and the natural counter to Baratheons being Night's Watch, because they just stand and shoot them to bits. If I was to jump into some lists, you would not be surprised to see double builder scorpion crossbowman. Yeah,
that's what a Baratheon does not want to see.
Yeah.
That's what a Baratheon player does not like at all.
You're seeing, I mean, this guy runs Sworn Brothers spam. Wow, incredible. And guess what? 3 scorpions and 2 crossbowmen. Like, it's just Tobbo, your popular Tobbo Mott runs scorpions, crossbows, you know.
Yeah, got no room to go anywhere, and you can only charge me in the front. Scorpion with a build and modification. Oh, that thing's on point. Like, that's going to do some absolute damage. Overlapping, like, arcs of fire. Absolutely crushing. If you can just bring the weight of that firepower wherever you want on the line, you can just kill stuff. Yeah, I mean, as we all know, I am El Senor Builder meme extraordinaire. I already know. I know the strength. I know the strength of it at 40 points. Give me an extra 10 points of anything powerful I want on the same size board, and yeah, that's definitely. And that is the reason why Night's Watch are going up.
Yep, that is why they are.
You know, people have. That's why it represents how powerful factions are right now, and right now, a large part is in this 50-point.
Yeah. As you can tell today, Carlo's got a couple of connection problems. We'll get there. We will get there. So yes. Sorry. It's all right. Don't worry. Yeah, we get you in and out. It's fine. They win a lot, so they go up a lot. You know?
Yeah, they're winning more than just over average, so they're ranked just over average. It's taken them a while to get there, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. So there is a couple of other things about the 50-pointer. I was going to mention. Carl gave me some feedback, and there was no Fome Pass was round 1. And it got some mixed feelings. Some people liking it, some people not. No Fome Pass is the one where you have the 2 objectives in your home base, 2 objectives in the enemy base, and 1 in the middle. 3 points for opponents, plus 1 for commander, and 1 in the middle, and 1 point for both of your own. Yeah, people hit and miss, and I think it depends on the army. I think the issue being that in that kind of game mode, it favors the armies that are fast because it's the only ways it can get across the board fast enough.
Hmm.
And if you don't go across the board fast enough, you end up having to go across piecemeal. Otherwise, you go victory points down, and you end up actually losing the game because the opponent doesn't have to do anything. It's like a weird. Either you're all in or you're not.
It's an interesting game mode. I think it deviates away from the other area controls because you don't just try and control everything. You have to commit to something, and that might be why people don't like it. But that's just like an interesting conversation, which is that's a beta game mode which now hasn't been picked. So that
Yeah.
competitively speaking might be the end of that game mode. We might not really see it anymore. It's totally up to the TOs, of course, if they want to run these things.
Definitely.
Like Simon aren't really running their own competitive structure currently, so it's entirely up to TOs as to what's played.
Yeah. Definitely true. Definitely true. And the TOs themselves.
All that kind of stuff. Whatever the TO says.
Yeah. It's TO's law. TO's rules. Interestingly, Carl had some other feedback, which was he got an interesting feedback on Targs, saying that they're like even worse of a one-trick pony than Baratheons for a lot of players. And once Targs traditionally could take apart Baratheons, but now that Baratheons can just the likes of counterplot from Courtney and just stop those retreats from happening, that Targs are just finding it almost impossibly difficult to get wins against something that they could, in theory, beat. But yeah, it's what do you think about that?
I think that I think that the Targs, particularly with what's out at the moment, they need space. They need flanks. And the reason they struggle is because good players can deny it at 40 points on a 4x4 board.
Mm-hmm.
And also they can predict and control where the fight will be anyway. And so the advantage of maneuverability is not that high. And then you shove more stuff onto the same area and they lose that again. Like it's now almost impossible to get round the flanks of somebody. You have to kill something head on before you can get into the back line.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe Drogo's I forget what it's called. Is it Ride by Attack or whatever? The one that allows you to march through your opponent and make an attack and be behind them. I think that is an underrated card just because of the positional control it can give you against these like wall-based armies. But Targs are off the pace because what it's asking you to do effectively requires your opponent to give you a chance. It requires your opponent to slip up and give you an opportunity.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So there's that one. There's a 50-point tournament. We'll obviously keep tabs on it. We'll see how it's going. What do you want to stop in next and have a look at?
I guess tell you what's worth talking about is the end, because we kind of missed it. The end of the 30-point tournament, the skirmish at the Twins.
Skirmish at the Twins.
Seems as we just talked about the 50. The 50 kind of came out of the fact that the 30-point tournament was run and won. Well, it's been won by Baratheons. The first tournament ever won by Baratheons. It was won by Gushisher, aka Viper. The
player of the tournament, pretty much.
Is that Baratheon 3? You actually look at it and the games that got played and the games that got won and the games that got lost. It is Courtney Penrose 1, 2, 3. Courtney Penrose won every one of those games. And that's what kind of spawned the 50-point tournament, which is that it turns out at 30 points, it's even more valuable to have an NCU commander, and particularly a good one like Courtney. Kind of surprising to not see High Sparrow up there, but that's just a bit of the luck of the draw. Also, don't forget that this was a random faction tournament, not selected, but you got to pick your commanders, so that's why everybody ended up with Courtney. But yeah, it's interesting to see the flip side, that the winning lists here effectively had 3 NCUs, even at 30 points. So it's all the things that we knew at 40 points, they hold at 30. So that's why Carl decided to look at 50 points to see if effectively it should force more points onto the board, because there is a limit to the value you can get from the NCU board. But it seems that basically you should look to get 100% value from the NCU board and then spend whatever's left on the tabletop, is the way the meta looks right now.
Yep.
So we'll see what 50 points ends up as. But at the moment, yeah, like you say, Night's Watch crushing it, Targaryens getting crushed.
Yeah. All right, so we've stopped there at the 30 points. Stop by there. Let's have a little wander into some other ones that have gone on. A massive campaign tournament thing going on, which is really interesting. Okay, so the Wolf Howling event. There's the one I wanted to find. So Furioku's Wolf Howling event is getting there. I believe the 3rd round is happening now. Quite a lot of retired players, but that's because obviously it is a knockout. So got to take that into consideration. We're down to 10 players left, I believe.
Each round he will retire everybody who loses their game.
Yeah. Now some people don't.
It's also slightly, slightly weird number of players. He ended up with just over. In terms of, that's where it is.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, he's gonna have the 10 remaining players in it so far. Obviously, there's going to be 5 winners from that, and I believe he's going to keep the top winners in each time to make it work out. So Stannis actually lost. Stannis is one of the few players, and Serpent as well lost their games, but because they were the highest winners, they were kept in. So just to keep the things kind of like ticking over, basically, just to make sure the rounds are finished and games keep ticking over. But there's an interesting one. Currently, relatively decent mix of factions. You've got a Night's Watch. You've got lots of free folk, 4 free folk players. Then you've got a couple of Starks, a Baratheon, 2 Baratheons, and a Lannister. More importantly, no Targaryens. No neutrals as well. Not a surprise to anybody, but it's just it's happening.
Guys, the rankings don't lie.
I don't.
The rankings don't lie. There's a reason. There's a reason why there's 5 factions all there, not that far apart. Massive gap. Neutrals, another humongous gap.
They're just not on pace, are they? Not on pace.
They're not.
All right. So, as you can tell, you're still having some connection issues. Hopefully, it will fix itself over time. We've been working on it. Don't worry. So we're on to the Masters Championship. Right. Let's move on to this because this thing is quite big. The entries closed 2 days ago. Is that right?
Yep.
Two days ago. I can, yes. And we've got our 16 players. Annoyingly, I didn't have enough time to play any more games, so I didn't even try and make a push for it. But we've got our top 16 in there. What was that?
You didn't quite make it. You threatened multiple times that you would be there, but not quite.
I wasn't actually.
There was quite a lot of people in the end. I very much predicted that basically lots of people would be going for the last 4 spots. Not many people went for the 4 that came before it. Not many people seem to be trying to get there early. And then, of course, there was about 10 plus players all trying to get 4 last spots. So there were, unfortunately, a few players who didn't get in, both in to be in, but based on the time. Based on the time that I had the cutoff at, they weren't in that 4. So there's a couple of players who unfortunately just didn't quite make it. There are plenty of players who could have made it. But, it's just...
It's one of those things. It's one of those things. So, we will look at that. We'll obviously come back to this. We've still got everything's hidden. No factions have been chosen necessarily yet. Commanders are still waiting to happen. We will be bringing you everything we can about the Masters tournament. This is going to be something that we look to create as much content around as we can. In theory, these are 16 of literally the best players from across the planet. So this is the closest thing we can get to a high capacity, high quality tournament. We will come back to the Masters tournament. We will revisit it.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to do some stats on it, obviously. Are we going to be doing anything with NRG streaming-wise?
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully, I hope that we'll stream nearly all the games. I don't know whether or not you caught me. The tournament is roughly like at least 150 ranking points higher rank.
You haven't locked it yet, so that's no good.
Being able to kind of show that like really high quality games is what people are looking for, and stuff like that. There's an interesting breakdown of kind of who we have. There is a good represent. Roughly the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're all good.
Sorry.
It's okay. No, I know.
I don't 100% know if you can see me, because on your screen I keep
cutting out.
I keep stopping.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We get you in flashes and things. Your best bet is just to continue
Brilliant.
as much as you can.
All right.
It's only when you do the. Ironically, when you talk for longer, it's worse. Keep it short. Better.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So what we do have is we have people from a lot of different countries. Most of the countries that use the site, there's a top ranked player in there, which is interesting because it is TTS based. There is no regional requirement. The players aren't selected in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, anybody could play anybody and get a ranking, and yet there are good players everywhere. What we see is 3 German players and we see 3 Australian players, showing both how popular the site is in those places and also how strong the players are there. We see 2 Canadians. Canada have also
Con artist Narakas, yeah.
And other than that, we got a mix of from America and stuff like that. Quite make it, but people definitely were trying to get their ranking up to qualify. So that's really good to see.
Yeah.
My best guess from looking at the players and their record and what they use and stuff like that, that we will actually, I think we will see about 50% Starks. Which
That's crazy, isn't it, really?
Ranked players. Yeah. We see a little smattering of everything else, or at least everything else except neutrals and Targaryens. I would be very, very surprised if anybody played neutrals and Targaryens. They literally, in my opinion, can't cut it at this level against this level of opponent. But there are definitely going to be some Baratheons. I'm pretty sure there'll be some Lannisters. Flat out sure there'll be some Free Folk. I think we might end up with a Night's Watch as well. I think there is at least one.
One Night's Watch player? Who do you think?
It'll be
Bazu. Bazu is a Night's Watch player.
Yeah. Bazu, of course, the guy who is organizing Gold on Dice.
Yeah.
And is a big pusher and creator of the competitive scene over in Malta, which seems quite active for how small a country it is.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, just off a quick check here, if we just go based off the normal factions they play, De Border obviously plays a lot of Starks. Don't know if he'll bring them, but plays a lot of Starks. Rossi, he plays Starks as well, I believe. Crag. Crag plays Baratheon. Stannis plays Baratheon. Brett is probably going to play Stark in this tournament. Might bring his Lannisters. Can play Night's Watch. Lark's Stark, Mahoney Stark, Ariaka Stark, Viper. He'd probably bring his Starks. Furioku or Masara might bring his Fee Folk. Psychopath probably bring his Fee Folk. Deoxys, I think he's playing Jaime Lannister. Because we told him to play Jaime Lannister. So Deoxys will probably do that.
I think he's quite got the balls to do it in this high level of tournament.
Spleen, I don't know what Spleen plays. I think he's been playing Knights. No, he's been playing Baratheons, I think, in the Team Super League, which we'll get onto in a minute. Tobo, I think, plays a mix again, and Khan Artist again is a mix, a little bit, I think.
Yeah, we'll see what players pick once I put out what the game modes are. I'll have to have a look now that some of them aren't beta anymore. So I'll decide on that. The format that will be knockout. Format will be knockout. There will be 4 rounds, 1 undefeated player, and the final game, the final round, the final will be a best of 3. So there will be 6 games total. Must win 5, of course. So when we get to the final, we'll be looking at best of 3 because I think there really will be so little to split these players that we will need that kind of best of 3 to see who's better.
Yep. Cool. I look forward to that one. That's going to be a fun stream.
Bruce Lug thinks that if it's all Stark mirrors, Ariakas has got it down. I've watched Ariakas play some Stark mirrors, and he definitely has a very good understanding of that matchup.
Yeah.
I expect to see a lot of Howland. It'll be interesting if players predict that there are that many Starks, how they will tech into
like the mirror read Cranigman style.
Yeah, mirror read in Tully's is quite a anti-Stark, anti-dog use because of how aggressively they can move up the board and maintain that trap zone and stuff like that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We'll see, and we'll see how many of players go completely against the grain, and really what happens. It'll be really interesting.
Definitely. All right then. All right, so that's the Masters tournament, which we will be bringing you as much information as we can as time goes on. We will be making sure.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah, starts in 2 weeks. We will make sure that we get you get as much as we can of that recorded and as many games as we can by not just ourselves at NRG and Stats, but also some of the other community content creators out there as well. Trying to get in and do some live streams. Trying to capture every game if we can. That would be fantastic. All right then. That leaves me with, I guess it leaves us with some time to have a little quick look at the Team Super League. The biggest event that's currently going on. It's
the humble smugglers managed to survive my absence. Still going max points. Still rocking on good.
Of course we do. So
me and my victory.
Yeah.
That is.
I didn't hear a single word of that, Carlo. You'll be glad to know. Was that you trying to meme? And it got all shut down? That was perfect. Perfect time to get shut down by the anti-meme.
Always.
Oh, yeah. I realised why you're having connection problems, or it's probably my end as we've worked out. I know what the problem is. I've accidentally turned on my anti-meme software, and because you've not been here, of course, it's not been going off. See.
Right. Spilled me out.
Yeah. So Carlo didn't forfeit. He could have actually played, right? You could have played yesterday night. And it went down as an unplayed draw, is that right?
So it's currently... Yeah, I mean, it's currently just an unregistered result. It's not... I mean, I don't know what to say. It's not Swiss draw, so the results don't actually have to be in. We both, for the Team Super League standings, we both technically don't win. Neither of us win. So it's a 3-0 win to the humble smugglers for our result. So I'm lucky that the other 3 players all managed to win because I neither won nor lost, which means that I didn't get a win.
Yeah.
We are actually still going to play the game. We have it organized for Wednesday. Nothing stops the game from still being played. Nothing stops the game from still being submitted because it's not Swiss draw. So the next round doesn't depend on this round's results. I believe that no points will be assigned for it. I guess it will be up to Carl to see if he wants to put it down under the fantasy. And it'll be, and I'm pretty sure Georgia's very much straight up ruled that it will not count for points for either team.
Yeah. Which is his decision.
So I guess team-wise, I technically forfeited.
Yeah. But he played his Alistair list. You played your Alistair list, didn't you? Not your author list. So Senior Builders haven't got a loss yet. Is that right?
I mean,
in your forfeit.
Even if it was, it would be a draw. They have not.
They are
3-0. They are 3-0, guys. I've played them. I've played the list 5 times, and I've won 4. It has lost. I would not tell you in a million years that it can take on a high tier start list. It can't. But yes, it can take on all of the mid tier lists. So. Yeah. Luckily, in the TSL, because people are forced to have such a wide factional matchup, wide factional choice, there are plenty of mid-tier lists that it can take on.
Yeah,
and it really munches Baratheons, like we said. Baratheons don't want to see that across the table.
So I thought we'd just stop by and mention, we'd have a look at the just at the standings, undefeated players, right? Because although team standings matter, ultimately it's undefeated players that are going to give you a good indicator of which teams are the strongest. And it comes as no surprise. Top of the board is our man Van, who has crushing wind everything he's played. He has stomped his opponent in literally every game. So good man there. Sabefi, who is the Bremen Highlander.
Those who don't know, Van is the Indonesian physical tabletop champion too. So, you know, he's not come out of nowhere. He just has been playing TTS.
Yeah.
But like a duck to water with TTS, joined it, started winning. If you look at his profile, he hasn't recorded a loss yet, and he was very unlucky to be about 2 ranking points away from making it into the Masters tournament. Yeah. But that's what happens. No favoritism.
No. Sabefi, who actually is the man who defeated Stannis. Stannis' first loss was to Sabefi, Bremen Highlander, with Baratheons, believe it or not, representing. And same with Spleen as well. Spleen representing, but work from the Australian Westerosi Warriors. Their best player at the moment, which I can say because Deoxys sucks. So yeah, that's obviously fantastic news there. Mahoney's Law, again another one of Stannis' losses, but he's up with his Starks again. We know he's a good player. I'm up there, which is nice and fun. Free Folk, including one very, very close win.
This whole segue was so that Mickey can tell you he's undefeated.
No, it's not. It's looking at the factions, which we're going to get onto in a second. But Terra Poeta last night played an absolutely... I'm going to say it was a good game, but I don't even know. It was long. Was it 5 hours long?
I'm not going to lie. I started watching. I got home. Came back from holiday. Got home. There was a game going on. I was like, brilliant. I'll watch it. Stuck it on. It was round 1. It was about halfway through the round. I watched the half of that round, and I was literally just like, nah. This game, like, I could tell right from then, from the way the players were playing, how long it took them to make every decision, even how long it took them to talk about what was about to happen. Tell you what, it was how long they took to decide whether or not they were going to use a Varys token on the activation of an NCU. And I was just like, nope, not interested. Turns out, came back like 4 hours later, game was still going on. And I was like, best decision of my life, to walk away from that game and not be interested.
Bartender there popping up and saying it was 5 hours long.
A good player isn't a good player anymore if they can't make a choice in a 15-minute period about whether or not they should use Varys.
I mean, I can forgive games that are close and it did go the full length. I think for 3 hours it makes sense, but for 5 hours, oh my god, it's just brutally long. And I just, yeah. So yeah, we'll see. But Terrapueta was in it, and he did get the win at the end. Afternoon, Bloodraven. Felix up there from the East Rosie Water Dancers, alongside my main man, Psychopath, who's also up there. Both representing, again, Germany, up with Subefi, but obviously from part of the other German team. Again, they're joint top with us, right, in our league. So they're the other top team from League B. What's interesting?
They, of course, got the easy.
Yep. The easy cross.
Cross league match of what do they even call themselves? Brotherhood without banners. There we go.
Brotherhood without banners.
Of course, the team everybody thought was going to be amazing, and actually is not even currently going to make it into the top league.
Yeah. Anyway, so interestingly, what I thought was interesting.
Hey, we're back, guys. We're back being horrible.
Being dickheads. What I thought was interesting, the reason I wanted to stop by this, let's look at the factions, but then we're going to look at teams as well quickly. Humble Onion Smugglers, Team B. Bremen, B. Westerosi, A. Steadfast, B. Humble, B. Poof, A. Easterosi, B. Easterosi, B. Rightful Heirs of Westeros, A. Three-Eyed Ravens, A. The split between unbeaten and beaten players is 5-4 to League B. Point in case, actually the leagues are quite balanced in terms of unbeaten players.
Which is to be roughly to be expected. You know, you know, like as soon as I saw the lists, I thought, as soon as I saw the team lists, I thought that's really just quite even.
Yep, so balanced lists.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely balanced lists. Factions, though, Carlo. Oops, he's just dropped. Oh, fun and games. So, while Carlo's gone, I'll have to do this on my solo. That's fine. You know, I'm better. I'm the better half of this partnership anyway. Oh, there we go. You completely dropped there for a moment.
Yeah, things are getting worse, not better.
Oh well. It's just take it back to holiday. We'll have to fix it after the stream. All right. So my point on the factions, though, we've got 2 Lannister players up there. We've got 2 Baratheons. We've got 2 Starks, and the remaining 4 undefeated players are Free Folk. Is that even right? Is that 4?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, 4. 4 Free Folk, 2 Baratheon, 2 Stark. Is that right? Can I count? The 10 undefeated players. That's right. 5 from each league, and yeah, 4 Free Folk, 2 Baratheon, 2 Lannister, 2 Stark.
Hey guys, I'm technically undefeated. If you're going to use the word undefeated, I am undefeated.
Yeah, he is technically undefeated, but we don't talk about him because he's not undefeated in the tournament yet. At least not from 4 games. But it is interesting, is it not, that we see good factional spread? But coming back to what we said, no Targaryens, no neutrals. Again, it's almost like the stats...
And what's watch? Yeah.
Yeah. And no Night's Watch at the moment. No Night's Watch at the moment. It's the stats clearly are showing that what we know, right? It's showing what we know. It's reinforcing what we know. Now the question is it reinforcing? Is the meta reinforcing what we know, or is what we know reinforcing the meta? It's the double whammy, right? We don't know which way round it is. But the same lists are winning consistently. So yeah, it is up there.
It's a really interesting question about whether or not the meta is real or self-creating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, The border is than 2 NCUs, just that people play 3 NCUs, therefore 3 NCUs are stronger. But then that seems to be like, to me, that seems to be effectively like game theory, like kind of, you know, whatever, which one it is, maybe like Prisoner's Dilemma or something like that. Like, if your opponent's going to play 3 NCUs, then you should play 3 NCUs. So then everybody should play 3 NCUs. Is kind of what I'm saying, which is, yes, 2 NCUs versus 2 NCUs can be a very interesting matchup, and it can be very good. And there are some very, very specific factions that can run 2 NCUs to success, but it's very specific factions, and it's not most. So then most run 3. So then you know that most people are running 3. So then you run 3, and you run a specific 3 that you know you're going to play into a 3 versus 3 matchup.
Yeah.
Which means that you should always be running an NCU that either doesn't need to take the board or has a zonal swap effect, because that's the things that are powerful in the 3 versus 3, because you're always going to be picking up that trash 5th zone or not being able to activate at all.
Yeah, definitely. All right then. So that's the TSL. Things are obviously coming up with that. We will be producing some more stats where, now that Carlo's back, we're going to look at some more in-depth things and look at how it's all going to kind of like evaluate around and look at kind of like the system as it kind of like works effectively and be able to produce some interesting things from it. Was there anything else you wanted to stop by and talk about, Carlo?
No, I think that was everything that I was looking at. I mean, there's a lot of tournaments up there, and like I say, I tell you what's a big one actually. I've just remembered. The Spanish seem to be putting together a really big regional qualifier into national event, which is very interesting. A couple of the qualifiers are up there under a different Spanish tournament.
Yep.
Yeah, the Spanish really seem to be taken to the site recently, and that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Masters of West Cross number 2 finally went up on the site just the other day. If we're super lucky, we will still make it to Scotland for a tournament in a couple of weeks. Maybe.
Yeah,
I think so.
I mean, we will probably make it up to Scotland. I don't know if Masters of Westeros is going to be something we can look at attending, though, is it? That's almost certainly a no. So we'll see.
I've pretty much written off being in Paris myself, so you know that's unfortunate.
Yeah. I was really looking forward to that as well. Actually going in person, so we'll get to see it run from here as well. But yeah, obviously, guys, there isn't a huge amount really left to talk about. There's lots of different local tournaments running. Craster's Keep in Sydney, one-day event. The Tourney Song of Ice and Fire, which I'm guessing is Polish for tourney, in Poland, in Warsaw. There's another Polish tournament, which is a local one, and a TTS, the Crownlands League. It's a longer event by Bladewind, who's been doing a couple of things like that. And some of the boys, Sizemaj and other people, have signed up for that. So, you know, have a look at those. I have no idea if this is a Polish only, and I'm sorry, but it's in Polish. I'm not going to translate it here and now. But there are lots of things there that you can have a little look at. I'm sure Bloodraven, you're Polish, right? I think you're from Poland anyway. You should get in that.
Throw him under the bus.
I know, right? Whispers Down Under, another one-day event in Australia, Adelaide. Tournament Has No Name, Berkeley. That's same weekend that we're in Scotland. You know, there's lots of events going on. There's our North of the Wall. There's tons of events up there. Tons of events, guys. Get yourselves in events. Get yourselves playing. Try and get physical if you can get physical, right? We're fed up of saying use TTS, although TTS is great. We want to see physical tournaments. And aside from that, I think we'll leave it there. If that's okay for you?
Yeah.
Cool. We're done here. Hopefully we'll have some problems fixed up for next week, and we'll be able to bring you some great in-depth knowledge and some more stats, and keep up to date with all the things. If you haven't already, hit
And a good connection.
Yeah, and a good connection. Hit the notification bell below. Get up to date with all the various things we'll be releasing. Go and check out the site, songiceandfire-stats.com. Go and check it out. Go and keep using it. And give us your feedback. Give us your feedback on the site. We will be looking to talk about some things, and we'll probably look to put some things together so we can kind of like work on future releases and some future mechanics coming to the site and future features for you guys out there.
Updates are coming. I've been things.
Is that why you went to Ireland? Was it to think in Ireland, get some fresh air in your head and think? Yeah. Right, we'll leave it there for today, guys. Unfortunately not what we wanted from today with the connection issues, but alas, still good fun chat. Check out the new tournament version of Here We Stand. I do recommend it. It's going to be interesting to see if it's any good or not, and I would welcome your feedback. We welcome your feedback as well. Keep using the site, and we will catch you next week. Same time, same place.